Comet.
Figured I'd do a little intro this time. This is a collection of videos that I shot over a period of time going all the way back to January 3rd. So from the day I started putting the transmission in so that I could measure the length of the drive shaft to ordering the drive shaft, which I already covered the arrival of it in a video since then. So you guys saw where I got the drive shaft, and as I said, I got it on eBay for $250, fully assembled, shipped, and arrived in like 3 days. So it was really a good deal, and it was fast. Yeah, you get to see me install the transmission, measure the drive shaft, and put it in, and we get to everything except bolting it together, which I did off camera. So that's why it's not at the end of the video. We're just cut off at the end of the video, and then I'm currently working on the Watts link. I'm not shooting much video of that, so I gotta shoot some more video of that. Anyways, enjoy this video.
All right, I got it on the motorcycle jack, as you can see here, and we're just clear of the clutch. Once this goes forward, this will be out of this hump, so I don't want to trim this back if I can avoid it. Also, the nice thing is this is forcing the transmission to pivot up to go onto the engine, so it's just about where it needs to be. A little bit of repositioning. I might have to trim some sheet metal, almost certainly. And yeah, it's already hitting over here, although when it goes forward it won't be so bad. So I don't know, maybe I'll just bend it up for now, since it is just rusty junk. Yeah, so anyways, yeah, I gotta get it into the center of the clutch, and then we'll drive it home. But I think I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning. This is pretty good for tonight. Just wanted to share that with you. I did it, guys. I didn't do it on camera because there was far too many foul language words involved. So YouTube doesn't care for that. I don't think that you guys would either. So anyways, transmission is in the clutch, bolted up. It was pretty cool. I could get my finger up inside that giant bell housing and make sure that the center of the transmission got into the center of the clutch right until it went in. And then there was no room for my hand anymore. But up until then, I did it. So it went in real easy. I used my motorcycle jack, as we saw. I had to bend up a little bit here and a little bit over there. And this was very, very close. So that might be a problem in the future. I don't have it up yet. I'll set the output angle with my angle finder, and then we'll get the drive shaft length. But that's where we're at now. See, it's up in here quite nicely. I might cut more of that hump out of there so it doesn't interfere with the shift lever, but we'll figure that out when we get there. Definitely gotta replace these rotten frame rails before I can create a transmission rail. Obviously that thing's gonna go higher. I may end up cutting a lot of that tunnel out of there if it goes much higher. We'll see when we get to it. But yeah, it's bolted to pan and everything. Turns out the bolt threads in the pan weren't great. It felt like the bolts were bent, but it was the threads. So I don't know if they weren't straight or what, but it was like tight, loose, tight, loose, tight, loose, all the way in. Really weird. But that's an Amazon pan for you. At least it bolted in at all. But yeah, now I'll set the angles, install the receiver on the flange back there for the rear end. I'm gonna have to get under there and put the drop links back in. I haven't done that yet. And then we'll put the yoke in here and bust out the tape measure and figure out the length of the drive shaft. And I'm hearing rumors of these things being a lot more expensive than they used to be back in the day. So I budgeted worst case $600 for a drive shaft, but I was hoping I could do it more like $350. So it doesn't sound like $350 is going to be in the cards, but I haven't talked to anybody yet, so we'll see. If it's $1,000, I'm going to lose my crap. Anyways. All right, so we're at 88 degrees. Let me stop shaking so much. All right, guys. 87.85. Yeah, pretty much 88 degrees. 15 thousandths. Anyways, Okay, now the screen went dark. Anyways, so this is where it needs to be for 88 degrees. And this, I can cut this off shorter, but generally the transmission's above it, so I'm going to have to, and the drive shaft is going to be rubbing it pretty much. So this is going to have to get cut out more, leading towards the back of the car. Structural integrity, what's that? I'm going to need a roll cage of a center console. I don't want a roll cage in a four-door car. It just seems stupid. But, you know, if I make the center console a roll cage, just to hold the car together. But anyways, yeah. I already did the shifter test fit. It's a little bit higher now, so I'd probably lower this some. But, yeah, it doesn't hit the dash. That's all the way forward. You know, it's right here. Yeah, obviously, it'll be down here more when I lower this. So, yeah. I like it. I tossed in a temporary seat. This is one of the seats that I picked up as an option. It's probably not very comfortable, but it is light. So, anyways. Yeah, no, it's a bad camera angle. Deal with it. So, took me a while to figure out where the yoke was. I thought that I'd put it in the back of the transmission. So since it was missing, I figured it was just sitting where I had the transmission before I slid it under the car. Not so much. It was in the original box. So, Powertrain Industries 3503-323. This is the, I think it was 1350 universal joint size. So good and strong. Can take all the power I'm ever going to throw at it. And did I mention this floor is kind of in the way? There we go. Oh. I may have to cut this off too. At least if it ever goes all the way in, it's going to bind up a little bit. I don't know. Anyways, we'll just put it all the way in so it doesn't fall out. And that's a maximum extension to the rear. So we are going to go to the rear and measure. And try and get from the center to the center. And then I'll pull it out. And actually, we could just do that now. So how far out does this go? Okay, it falls out at about 3.5 inches. Okay, so it starts at about 3/4. So we've got about 2 inches to play with, so I'm about 1 inch shorter than this measurement. So it's at 3/4 fully impaled, and where I'm going to want to use it is about 1 3/4, which is there. Okay, so yeah, I don't know, maybe I only want 1/2 inch, I don't know. So there's 2.5. Yeah, there's 3.5, and it hasn't quite fallen out yet. So all the way in. So I probably only wanted about here to give me about 1 inch of travel. So 2 inches out. Maybe I just want to measure from this flange. I don't know. Anyways, let's go back there. Okay, it's all the way in. So we are at about, on the center of that, we are at about, anyway, so there's my old drive shaft. It's incredibly small. I don't know what the diameter is on this thing. 2 3/4 maybe. Anyways, this one end to end is 59 inches. And I don't know,
maybe I could ask them to use this as parts for the new drive shaft, but it's awfully small. It was rated for 80 horsepower, maybe 100, but piping 400 or 500 through that, not a good idea. Even if this thing underperforms and only sends about 300 back, that's 3 times what this was rated for. These are not 1350s. I don't know if they're even 1310s. Who knows what they are? Junk is what they are. All right, we're gonna start hanging these pinions, whatever you call them, on this drive shaft. I don't have a workbench, so we're gonna use a freaking, whatever you call this, Tupperware. So we got our caps. I put some garbage here, there's some paper here, so if this rolls, it'll catch it. But okay, we got all the clips here. I haven't got the pliers to put the clips in yet, but I'm not that worried about that yet. Anyways, take one cap off. Let's take the bottom one off. So we'll spin that a little bit and pull. There we go. Good. All the rollers are in place. And do the same thing with this one. Vacuum on here. Come on, let go. There you go. So we are going to set this on there, and then this goes down like that. Oh, looky looky. There we go. And we just need to tap 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 it in. Let's see if they fit. I hate Ziploc bags. Okay. We do not have a spare, don't fling it. Alright. Okay, my first ever drive shaft circlip. Don't judge me too harshly, whatever you want to call that. One in. That was pretty good. And for the other side. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that side socket would be perfect. Maybe if I set it on the ground, I'd have something more to hammer against. Anyways, okay, now it's a little bit stiff, so they said to smack it good. Let's get a bigger hammer for this. And then to loosen these up, it said smack here and here. And there we go, nice and smooth. Cool. And the other end. Now I've got some practice under my belt. And that yoke for the other end. Alrighty. So far so good. Alright. Take these off. Alrighty. Those are all in well. All right, bigger hammer this time.
There we go. Alrighty. Dirt in you. Come on. No dirt in the joint, please. Okay, that's better. Ta-da! All right, and then a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. A little bit tight though. Okay, drive shaft is done. Ready to be put in the car when the car's ready for it. Cool. So the old drive shaft was 2 1/4. New one 3 inch. Not anything over 3 inch. Okay, so before I put the drive shaft in, you see that big square tube I installed? I've got to get the middle of it gone, so I'm going to triangulate forward off of that onto the front frame rails here, which will give it way more strength. And some triangulation's good for everybody. And it'll clear up the center of it for that drive shaft to come through. So I'm going to have a 4-inch gap in the center. That'll probably be fine. So I'll weld in the triangulation, and then I'll cut out the center, and we can install the drive shaft finally. Let's try this again. I had the camera sideways. Anyways, yeah, this is the 2 frame rails that I got. These are the 2 pieces that I cut out. They're going to go from the 4-link mount point bar to the frame rail in front of it. That's going to reinforce the frame rail. So it's like 1/4 inch, 3/16, something like that. These are definitely a 1/4 inch. So they're not light. I wish I didn't have to add so much weight, but this is the metal I got, and this metal I'm using. So I got 2 of those, I got 2 of these. I've got to get under there and notch the floor to clear them because it's a little above the floor. It's the under the back seat floor. So I'll notch it to get these up, and then maybe I'll just attach the floor to these. I don't know. But we'll see how perfectly I notch the floors. But anyways, yeah, in worst case I just get some like 3-inch exhaust pipe and weld it over that under the seat. Whatever it takes, whatever will clear the seat perfectly, or best, whatever. Anyways, they're each 24 inches long, which was the length I decided was right to get from, 4 inches shy of the center, or 3 inches shy of the center, because, it's to where I need it on the frame rail. So I'm going to get under there, mark these to where I'm going to weld them on. Then I'm probably going to drill a bunch of holes so I can gusset weld, but fillet weld, fillet weld. I don't know. I'll weld some holes through there. So yeah, I hate welding 1/4 inch to sheet metal. It's hard. So you see those 2 black lines? That's the part of the under seat tray that I have to cut out. Not much of it, and it really stops before it even gets to the frame rail. It stops being too low. It's only under the back seat. So I'm going to drill a hole here, and at the other end, both lines. So I'll be able to draw a line between those 2 inside the cab and cut it out from above so I don't have all that sparks and stuff raining down above me. And I'll probably reposition the fuel line before I start my welding down here so I don't burn through that. But after this is all welded in, I can finally strap this fuel line into place. Same thing on the other side. Got the same marks there. So I'll do that. Once that's up there, I can put my motorcycle jack up and hold it into place while I mark a spot on the
frame rail reinforcement. And then I'll go punch my holes in there, and outside the car I will weld the bar to this, and then we'll come in here, we'll clean up that frame rail with some wire brush or something simple, and then we'll weld this and that bar in place. Excuse me. Anyways, yeah, nothing to do but to do it. There we go. Cut them out, little notches in the back seat area. And that'll do it for that. My initial cuts on these were 45 degrees at each end, and getting it in there, I actually needed a little less. So that's what we're gonna do to get the angle to what I need it to be. Under the car, I marked about how much was sticking past if I lined it up with the ends. So I'm gonna cut this one a little shallower, or more of an angle, and same here, it'll be more of an angle, closer to 90. So if it was 45 before, this one's going to be more like 55, and this one's going to be more of an angle than 90, so I'll call that 100 degrees. I don't know, I'm just guessing, but you know, if I cut it and it fits right, I'll be happy. There you go. Oh, well. You know, right on top of it, actually. Alrighty. Yeah, that'll do. Alrighty. That's all right. Work smarter, not harder. Ow, my ears. Ow, 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 ow. Of course, one in my ear. Well, it's tacked. Alright, guys, let me grab the flashlight. So, we got that attached. Oh, look at that stalactite hanging from there. Some of my welds I was impressed with, especially on this side, but not all of them. Yeah, so there we go, and there we go. Passenger side one fit a heck of a lot better because I did more fitting. Driver's side is actually past the line, so I may actually cut off that corner there and square it off. But yeah, they're on. Now I can cut out the center and put in my drive shaft. I wish I knew where my Sawzall was. I should clean my garage and find it, because that would be ideal for cutting through that. Laying on my back using a grinder is going to suck. So we'll see. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's welder cooperated pretty well. I'm getting a little bit better at it. Yeah, so I'll primer all this eventually. But
and then we'll have to close off the part under the back seat. But not a big deal. All right, for my next trick, I've got to cut that center out of that cross member there so the drive shaft will fit through. I'm going to try and do that with my angle grinder. I'm going to be using fresh discs so I can get as deep as possible. And we'll just see how it goes. And it's going to suck being underneath it while it's cutting, but that's what we're going to do. Keep stuff out of my eyes would be great. Okay, we're pretty well all the way through it. As far as I can get down here, put a fresh blade in there, see if I can get in deeper. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to cut this section out up top and do it till about. I can do that. I've got a 4-inch opening here. Yep, exactly what I was going for. Exactly what I got. My welds are intact, even on the leading edge. Could have done a better job cutting, but now let's see if I actually got it centered enough to clear that drive shaft. All right, this will be the first install of the drive shaft. Well, that was convenient. I didn't put that there for that, but it's working out well. Okay, so you come in from the side and guide that shaft into its hole. Then we'll go back to the back. Let me point you at this so you can actually see it. Okay. There we go. All right, and then back an inch. Come on, there you go. Okay, it's up against the flange. It's in the transmission, a proper amount. I like it. It's clearing the floorboards. Although the rear end can go up higher, so I'm still a little high on these floorboards. A little tight. Maybe I'll just wait and see if it rubs. Oh, holy moly. Okay, let me show you the other end now. That shaft yoke. I'll just have to figure out where I put the nuts that hold that on. Or the bolts, whatever. Yeah, they're bolted to that flange. They're 12-point M12s somewhere around here. I just gotta track them down. And I might as well set my torque wrench to the right amount. Go ahead and torque it in there and just be done with it. If I'm really, really lucky. Be done with it anyways. Oh. Yeah, the drive shaft seems to be maybe a half an inch too far to the passenger side, but I'm okay with that. It's very close near the hump. Yeah, but Here, let me point it this way. So, with any luck, you can see all this. I got it on the wide angle. So, yeah, it gets really tight right here. And I got barely a finger's width. But that should stay where I leave it once I put the cross member in. Right now, it's still sitting on a jack stand. And I can come down a little bit if I need to. Everywhere else, I've got a finger's width. Back here is where it would be more of a problem. And I got even more room here. I can almost fit my whole hand in there. But that rear end should be able to go up a fair bit more still. Because this is ride height. So obviously it's got to go that way if we're going to have actually any suspension travel, which we are. So, something to look into. What else? This was a long time coming, getting this connected. At this point, with those bolts in there, well, no, I still got to have the Watts link. And I kind of need some springs to set the body on. But I'm pretty close to the point, well, yeah, I'm pretty darn close to the point where I could start this up, push it, put the transmission in gear and spin the back tires. So power is getting transmitted. This is my transmitter. Cool, okay. All right, so here's an above shot of how well it's clearing. We've got a ton of room on each side. So that's not gonna be an issue. That's actually really rather perfect. So this will in theory come up higher, maybe as high as this and then some. So I might have to do something about that. But yeah, it's attached. Well, it's not bolted together yet. I gotta figure out where I stuck that bag of bolts. I haven't seen it since I bought it, so that's a bad sign.